Hey guys, Andy Marcoux from CoachmansDelight.com, and today we're going to talk a little bit about body mechanics and your body position when you're driving your horse. Now, honestly, when I started driving, I didn't give body mechanics too much consideration. I had a lot of instructors try to teach me a lot of things about sitting bolt upright in the carriage, and your whip had to be at like a 45-degree angle, and even the best drivers, their hands don't move. And it was like a lot of instruction that really wasn't that helpful to me, because it made me try to strike a pose of the good carriage driver. So Kathy, why don't you go ahead and get warmed up a little bit with her, and I'll be back with you in a second. Let me talk to them for a minute. So when I started developing as a carriage driver, really, why did I start driving horses in the first place? Because I really wanted to be connected to the horse, right? And so I just focused on my communication with the horse, and I ignored all that stuff about sitting bolt upright on the carriage. And well, it kind of worked out okay for me, because I was so focused on that connection, and I just sort of found my way to body mechanics that worked really well to communicate to the horse. And as it happened, as I found my way to that level of communication, my body position improved, and I started to more represent that pretty carriage driver that those instructors were trying to get me to strike the pose of. But it was more born of practicality rather than me trying to hold the position that somebody gave me. Unfortunately, when I started instructing, when I was new as a carriage driving instructor, well, I may have from time to time told people, hey, don't worry about your body mechanics or your position. This isn't equitation after all. Just focus on the horse. And I mean, that wasn't entirely wrong, because we really focused on that driver's communication with the horse, the effectiveness of their rein aids and that kind of thing. But as I started to develop more as an instructor, I noticed this really cool thing happening. Maybe somebody was out there driving their horse and we weren't getting quite the product that we wanted. Maybe the horse was just kind of above the bit, or, not really paying attention enough to the driver. And I could see that there was a break in the connection between the two. And I'll give them a little bit of an instruction about how they're using the body. And suddenly the horse starts going better. And it's crazy, when you sit there and you watch it happen. Somebody just does a small change in the way that they're using their hands or the way that they're sitting on the box, and suddenly the horse goes better. Now, this is the kind of thing that you'd expect in a riding situation, right? Because we're sitting on the horse's back, so average human is 150 pounds, and you're just balanced there on the horse's back. So it makes sense. Whatever you do with your body is going to transmit through your horse's balance and the way your horse is going. But here in a carriage, you kind of think, well, how could my body position really affect the way the horse is moving when I'm isolated way back here in a carriage? And the way it actually happens is that your body position has an awful lot to do with how you actually communicate with the horse. So let's have a look at Kathy. I'm going to put a headset on, and we're going to do a little bit of instruction, and we'll watch her body mechanics as she's driving. And I'll share some really good tips with you about some of the most common things that drivers have issues with. All right, so as we're watching Kathy go around here, let's give it a moment. We can see her go by, and let's really watch her body position and the way her horse is going. And just here, she's just a little bit forward in her body position, okay? And the contact and the connection with the pony is not that great. So Kathy, I'm gonna have you number one, quiet down with your hands a little bit. All right, so your hands are getting a little noisy, and now their pony's a little bit pokey, a little bit slow, so ask for a little bit more energy, please. And then as you do, pick your head up and look down the rail, really nice and good with your chest. You're already starting to pick your chest up. Sit back, look through your turn, good. And think about your hands loading down into your seat almost. Good, good right there. Excellent. Sit deep in that carriage, sit back. Imagine those reins connecting right through your hand to the carriage. Nice here. All right, let's bring her around, Kathy, and stop over here on this orange dot so that we can talk about this with people that are watching. Here. Come right up, and here we go. Okay. And relax the reins to her so she'll stand nice. Okay, so when we're talking about one of the most common faults with people leaning forward, so Kathy, I want you to just tip forward the way you were a moment ago. Yeah, and that might be a little bit of an exaggeration of what we see out there, but it really isn't that much because, you know, when people get focused on their horse, you know, our head drops and we get all excited about what we're doing with that horse, and we kind of get on the edge of our seat. Well, Pila, stand up and then just relax the reins to her. That's it. Pila, we're just going to get bored here for a minute, okay, sunshine? Atta girl. All right, so the temptation when you see someone tipped forward in the carriage like that is to tell them to sit back. So, Kathy, sit back. And that's exactly what they do. You tell somebody to sit back in the carriage and they end up shifting their hips back and pushing back in the seat. Well, we can see what's happening here is the seat back now is right up against her back, so she doesn't have much room to tip back. And her hips, if this were a glass seat or something like that, you would see that her hips are shifted further back behind the point of her shoulders. And when your shoulders end up in front of your hips, you end up having to engage your back muscles to maintain that position. Okay, as you're tipped forward, your back muscles begin to fire and they flex. When those back muscles fire and flex, you end up getting tension through the shoulder, which transmits down into tension in the elbow and the wrists. And so then the arms, you see how initially when I first started moving her arm, her whole torso moved in response, right? And that all comes from a tense back because of a position that's tipped forward. The solution to this problem is, Kathy, I want you to scoot your butt a little bit forward in the seat. Good. And now you can tip back just a little bit. Yeah, that's it. Give your reins forward because you're going to pick up contact, and then Pila's going to think we're going to go do something. Okay, so this puts her in a little bit better position. So I want you to actually have to flex your abs a little bit to maintain that body position, but not leaning against the back. So Kathy, you're in full contact with the back of the seat. I want you to scoot your butt a little more forward so that you can come back, touch the seat for a moment, and then just bring your position just off the seat back. Now she's using her abdominals to keep her body position. That allows the back muscle to relax and go slack, and that allows the shoulders to be freer, which allows the elbows and wrists to be much freer. And so she has a more forgiving hand to drive from, even if she's taking a fair bit of weight. The one problem here is that she's still quite dropped in her shoulders. Now the temptation is to say, Kathy, pull your shoulders back and relax. Pull your shoulders back, relax. Pull your shoulders back, relax. Yeah, this was the instruction that I got when I was a kid riding horses, and I swear to God, it was probably 10 or 15 years of people telling me to pull my shoulders back and relax at the same time, which they were two mutually exclusive activities before somebody actually taught me how to adjust my body position so that I could have my shoulders back and my back relaxed at the same time. So Kathy, here's the deal. You're going to take your shoulders and you're going to do a big forward shrug like this, and then up to your ears, and then open your chest and your collarbone, and now relax through your whole body. Yeah. Okay, so we got a little bit of a tip, but not much. Do that shoulder roll one more time and pick your chin up as you do. Very nice. And now bring your hands up into the driving position. And so what we get here is her shoulders really truly are just a little behind her hips. Now, not only does that help her with relaxation as she's driving and allowing her hands and shoulders and elbows to follow the horse's movement, but she also gets a lot more leverage in that position. So if we go back to the poor riding position, okay, maybe a little tip forward. Now, if I take these reins, I'm just going to step this way a little bit, so hopefully we don't lose me on the frame, and I pull on those reins a little bit. Okay, so you can go ahead and try to resist me a little, but you see that it's very easy. You can see that I'm not putting a lot of effort, but I'm pulling weight right out of the seat of the carriage just with little tugs. And I don't think she's play acting for me, because I think she's too she's too real for that. All right, so Kathy, let's go ahead and adjust that body position. Let's, scooch forward on the carriage, big, and then come right off that lazy back. Just go back, touch the back of the seat, and then come off. Okay, now let's relax those elbows. You're starting to pick the pony up. Pull the pony back. There we go. Okay, now if I do that same amount of draw on the rein, okay, you can see that I can actually put a lot of weight on the rein, and the weight gets pulled right down into the carriage seat, into the floor. So she's got a lot more leverage. So if we're dealing with a pony who pulls a little bit, she's got a lot more leverage. But now, if we combine this leverage with a little bit more relaxed shoulder, okay, but now take a little bit of weight in the rein and follow me, don't let me move your torso, relax your shoulder. Yeah, you're able to gain a little bit more contact, but it's live, movable contact, because she's got that better body position. She's got that better leverage in the carriage, because leverage equals volume and clarity of communication. All right, Pila says, let's go for a drive. So go ahead, drive around, use the whole ring. You're welcome to use this part of the ring. You don't have to be afraid of me. I won't bite. Now let's go ahead and get her walking on the bit. All right, good, really nice. Now, those are just a couple of the, really just a couple pointers on one of the most common faults that we have with carriage driving and carriage drivers everywhere. But there are a whole bunch of other really small changes that you can make to your body mechanics that make really big changes to the quality and efficiency of communication between you and your pony. So on Wednesday night, I'm going to give a class that's all about this. And the class comes with handouts that you can download to your computer and print out, bring to the barn if you want. There'll be some really cool exercises and maybe a couple of articles to help you understand how all of this stuff goes together. And the other really cool thing about the class is that I'm going to be holding it live online, so that if you have any questions about the things that I'm trying to teach you, well, you can just ask the questions right there and then during the class. If you're busy Wednesday night at 9 o'clock Eastern time, maybe you got to get your hair done, or you got a really hot date or something awesome like that, don't worry about it. Sign up for the class anyway, because on Thursday, I'll send out an email of a live recording of the class, and so you'll be able to download that recording to your computer and watch it as many times as you want, and you can speed it up and pause it and rewind and do whatever you want that way. All you need to do is go to coachmansdelight.com and hit in /online class. Of course, I'll make sure to post a link at the bottom of this video so you can just link right to that page. While you're there, if you kind of like little driving tips like this, why don't you go ahead and subscribe to my YouTube channel, and that way you'll get info when I post another fun video like this. All right, that's it. Once again, I'm Andy Marcoux from Coachman'sDelight.com. I hope I see you real soon online or in the field. Take care. Yeah?